First story is titled, Would I be the a-hole if I sent a cease and desist letter to my late husband's daughter? I, 58 female, was left the sole beneficiary of my late husband's will. My husband died this year from a heart attack. He left me a very large amount of money, as well as our house that was in his name and a few other properties outside the city. He left nothing, however, to his children. His children, 30 female and 28 male, have been contacting me incessantly about the money and properties. They feel that they should each get a property and a portion of the money. My husband did not have a relationship with his children, however, which was largely a result of his previous wife's actions. This isn't just my opinion. I heard the calls and saw the court documents. His second child is not biologically his, which he found out when the boy was 3, which led to the divorce. His wife, however, convinced the kids that he had cheated on her. He hadn't. His children hated him as a result of her actions, though he was a loving dad, and refused any contact. This crushed my husband. The hurts grew into resentment, and he decided not to leave his children anything when he died. He updated his will 4 years ago. I do not want to give his kids anything either, though I have the means to. I told them as such, and the daughter blew up at me and began calling me nonstop. I blocked her, but she somehow got a hold of my work email. I'm a professor, and sent me several angry emails. Neither the son or daughter is well off, and the daughter has 3 kids whom I've never met. She has a house, however, so I believe she wants the property for her mother. Apparently, her mother loved those properties. They have been in my husband's family for generations. I do feel bad for her kids, but their mother has treated me terribly, and my husband would roll over in his grave if his ex-wife acquired one of those properties. Would I be the a-hole if I sent a cease and desist letter to his daughter? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. They refused contact, and also it's not his ex-wife's business either. Do take legal action. The situation warrants it. Seriously, that's harassment, plain and simple. You do better to have a lawyer and send a cease and desist letter to the daughter. If she's continually harassing you, and at work no less, you have rights. There are laws in place to force her to stop. I just gave this advice to another poster, but it works here too. The EEOC website has a lot of info about harassment and what to do about it. You would not be the a-hole. Good luck, and I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you. It was the fact that she is harassing me at work that prompted me to consider taking legal action. I worked hard to get this job, and I have no idea if she plans to cause any further disruption. I am looking to get a lawyer. Not the a-hole. Your husband's will is clear. Tell me if I'm wrong here. The children did not try to amend their relationship with their dad, right? They're only coming to you after his death to get the money. If they had apologized and tried to work through the resentment, then your husband would have left something to them. Am I correct in assuming that? No, they did not, unfortunately. My husband tried several times. The son actually did call once many years ago, but he was not looking to reconnect. He was asking for info related to his bio dad, as his mom would not tell him. He absolutely would have left them something had they been in good terms, or even had they just been in contact. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not using my daughter's college fund to support my future grandchild? I, 45 female, have been a single mother to my daughter, 18 female, ever since her father passed away when she was a baby. It was hard pulling us through, but we made it. I finished my degree, earned a nice job with a high salary, and now we live comfortably. One of my priorities was setting aside a college fund for my daughter. Her father had started one when he found out I was pregnant, and I chose to add on to it once he passed. When she was 17, I sat down with her and told her that once she is ready for college, do not worry because I and her dad have saved up money for her education. I told her this money could go towards tuition, housing, food, books, etc. She planned on moving into an apartment in the same state as the school and attending some online classes / some in person. Anything to make her college life comfortable and fun I was willing to offer. I wanted the best for her because when I went to college, I struggled financially. She was grateful and thanked me. Obviously, the pandemic has made school different for everyone, and senior year of high school was difficult for her. But she was still accepted into one of the top schools in the nation, USA, and I was so proud of her. 4 days ago, she sat me down and told me that she was pregnant. I was shocked because she was in birth control. I figured it was an accident. She's due in September, right when school starts. That meant we had to back out signing a lease for a future apartment and would have to stay home to raise the baby. Starting college with a newborn would have been a challenge, but doable. So I accepted it. Until later that night I overheard, not eavesdrop, her convo with her boyfriend. She told her boyfriend not to worry about supporting the baby. She would just use her college money for it. I also heard that she's been lying to me. Turns out, she decided to stop taking the pill simply because she wanted to switch to a different birth control, but she didn't tell me. So for the past 3 months, she's been picking up her birth control and she wasn't taking them. If she wanted to switch to something else like the implant or an IUD, I would have supported it. I'm not some stuck-up prude. I was open to my daughter about protecting herself from STIs/pregnancy, so this choice confuses me. Next night, I told her that she and her boyfriend would have to find a way to support the baby, because her college fund was for college only. She broke down, asking me how she was going to manage to support her baby when she and her boyfriend had a job. I told her she should have thought about that before she spread her legs with no contraception. She called me a horrible mother and grandmother because I was setting them up for failure. I told her that I set her up for success, yet she chose the route which made things difficult for her. She told some other family members and are saying that I'm the a-hole and should think of the child. I replied that while I love my grandchild, I plan on staying firm about the college fund. But now I'm unsure. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She made her own decision getting pregnant, and now it's time to live with the consequences. As long as you hold on to the money for if she ever goes to college, you will fulfill that part. I am assuming though you will still support her and the baby, but just not giving up the savings. That was my original plan. Honestly, had this truly been an accident pregnancy while she actually on the pill, I would feel more inclined to help her. But as it stands, I do not want to be the primary provider for the grandchild. She is expected to find a job as soon as she can, even if it's just part-time in a retail place after the baby is born. I am okay with babysitting while she works/is in class, but most of the financials has to be her responsibility. I think that is more than fair, considering some parents would have kicked their child out and offered nothing. Not the a-hole. She made that choice as an adult and needs to learn there are consequences. I decently like the comment about setting up a trust fund for the future grandchild. I'd ask your daughter if she ever plans on going to college, and if she doesn't plan on it, turn it into the grandchild's trust fund. This sounds like a great idea for the future grandchild trust fund. The last time we talked, it's been a few days now because she's still mad at me. Lol. She agreed to stay home and have the baby, do all classes online, find a part-time job as soon as she was able. I was willing to support them for a few months while she recovered and looked for a job. But ever since I found out about the lying, I have such mixed feelings about it. If later down the road she decides she isn't ready for college, that's fine. The fund will still be there for her and/or her daughter when she decides to a further education. Thank you for your input. Not the a-hole. She tried to scam you into paying for her planned teen pregnancy. I know a woman whose daughter did that. She and her boyfriend wanted to have babies while they were 18 to 20, so they could get free room, board, and child care, and then travel the world at 40 when the kids were adults. Only they didn't consult the intended providers of the free room, board, and child care. On to the next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my daughter out because she ruined her stepsister's things and makes life difficult in the house? I have 2 daughters, Leah 19 female and Lucy 16 female. I adore my girls, but since I remarried Rebecca fairly soon after the divorce, they weren't impressed, especially since I gained a stepdaughter, Sophie 18 female. I did my best, but they remain closer to their mother to this day, and when the lockdowns first started, they wished to stay with her and communicate with me through tech. Clarification because everyone was asking, I did not cheat. My ex-wife, Sharon, has been struggling since the pandemic. Money is tight for both her and her boyfriend Luke, and with them and both the girls, there's not a lot of space. Leanne especially is coping very poorly, and Sharon asked if I was willing to have her for a short while. Apparently at Leanne's request. I was surprised by this, since she was the one who felt most negatively towards me after the divorce, and we recently had a big fight because she dropped out of university. So I agreed, knowing that it would be tough. But her behavior hasn't been acceptable. She's rude to Rebecca. She frequently takes clothes off Sophie's. She says she and Lucy share things all the time, but their relationship and attitudes to clothes is different. Sophie's wardrobe is essentially sacred to her for reasons, and I don't have the word count to explain, but candid comments have deemed irrelevant. Leon also makes a lot of noise, a symptom of her mother's household, swears a lot, is messy and very aggressive when she doesn't get her way, or is rebuked for her behavior, particularly if it's Rebecca that said something. Tensions have been rising lately, because Sophie was due to start university again today. Leon and I fought about this, as I mentioned, so it was a delicate subject regardless. And with Leon's noise disturbance, Sophie has found it difficult to concentrate on her prep work, so they've been arguing even more. Sophie bought a new shirt and necklace for her first meeting today. A new outfit for a specific event is Sophie's code for "I'm stressed about this." The idea of an online term is quite daunting. Today, she went to get dressed and found a blouse ripped apart and the necklace destroyed on her bed. She started crying. There was a big fight. Rebecca calmed Sophie down in time for her class, and I sent Leon to her room and told her to stay there until her mother arrives to pick her up. Not just the vandalism, but the fact that she deliberately searched for the item she knew Sophie had chosen to calm herself down for her class was just too much for me. I've said I'm happy to take Lucy if space is still an issue, but Leon can't live in my house if she's going to destroy her stepsister's property and make life difficult for everyone. Sharon, Luke, and Leon all say I'm an a-hole for putting them in this position and not prioritizing Leon because she's my daughter, and they won't pick her up. So, am I the a-hole? Wow, not the a-hole. Your daughter is an adult. Her stepsister would be well in her right to sue her at this point. She chose to be evil. Your ex doesn't want to pick her up? No worries. Put her in an Uber and put conditions for her coming back if you ever consider letting her. Apologies, therapy, and strict respect of your rules in your stepdaughter's space. And pay for what she destroyed, or replacing it. Your daughter is way too old to act like a toddler in my opinion. Edit. Please don't take my mention to suing as an indication she should be taken to court, but rather that she has reached the age where destroying someone's property can get her into real issues. Property destroyed in harassment can get you in adult troubles. I get that this is Reddit, but the idea that suing is the response to every possible problem is ridiculous. The effort, time, and money spent taking a family member to court over a shirt and a necklace is simply not worth it. Let me emphasize, because other Redditors have focused on the potential dynamics of your divorce and on step-siblings' rivalries. Your action here is age-appropriate parenting. Leon is over 18, refuses to follow house rules, is rude and messy, steals from Sophie and destroyed Sophie's new belongings in a malicious action targeted to cause maximum distress. In the adult world, actions have consequences. If you tolerate this under your roof, then it would set up Leon and her future roommates for disaster. If Leon treated an adult in an apartment share the way she treats Sophie, then Leon could end up in small claims court, plus a police report for vandalism and a civil restraining order. Although it's unlikely the vandalism would be prosecuted, these are things that could turn up on a background check. The mildest way to curb that behavior before it creates a public record is to make Leon move in with other relatives. You're pursuing that course, she won't be on the streets. She'll resent you for it in the short run. Leon is living in the moment. 10 years from now, when Leon has a bit more life experience, she may understand why you demonstrated that boundaries matter. You also owe a reasonable home environment to Sophie so she can focus on her studies without abuse. Not the a-hole. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my mom when I corrected her new friend who thought my daughter was my little sister? My daughter Ava is 4 years old. I had her young. My girlfriend passed away when my daughter was a baby, so I'm mostly on my own taking care of her. Before pandemic, I used to leave Ava at daycare. But since it's closed and not safe for her to be out, I started paying my mom to watch her weekdays when I work. My mom told me a month ago this lady just moved in a few houses down and she comes over to chat. I never met her until Friday when I got off work early and went to pick up my daughter. Ava was playing in the backyard, so I stayed longer. Then her neighbor friend came and my mom introduced us. The lady commented that it's so sweet I still make time to visit my mom and play with my little sister. I looked at my mom confused and thought she would correct the lady, but she was just standing there, smiling like she agreed. So I told her she's my daughter actually. She was just as confused as I was, but she just went, "Oh." My mom, I guess, tried to save face, saying she loves my daughter like her own so it's easy to forget. Anyways, it was awkward, so I just got Ava and we went home. I have this week off, so not taking her to my mom's place. My mom called earlier because she's mad her friend isn't talking to her much. Before, she would come over every day, and now she hasn't come since Friday. My mom said her friend assumed Ava was her daughter when they first met, and she was embarrassed to admit she's her grandma because she didn't want the lady thinking bad about her. She says I didn't have to ruin it for her, and it didn't hurt anyone to let her think that. We ended up arguing. My mom's mad I embarrassed her, and now she might have lost a new friend. I'm mad she'd lie about something like that, and didn't consider she could be confusing Ava saying stuff like that. She swears she never said anything in front of my daughter, but I don't know if I believe that. I get it, some people are gonna judge me for being a young dad, or judge her as a parent, so I guess I can see where my mom was coming from. Even if I don't care, they can think what they want. But it did embarrass my mom, so I want to know if I'm the a-hole here for saying something about it. Now for the top comments. I get it, some people are gonna judge me for being a young dad, or judge her as a parent. Yeah, and some people are a-holes, but not you. Not an a-hole. That friend isn't coming over anymore because Opie's mom pretended to be Eva's mom, not because of how young anyone in this scenario had their kids. Because that is hella weird behavior. Opie's mom embarrassed herself. I wouldn't come over either. Not an a-hole. Your mom is a major a-hole. This would severely bother me. I'm so sorry. Your mom was deceitful, which is probably why the lady isn't talking to her now. What's embarrassing about you raising a daughter that you had young? I guess it would be embarrassing for her to admit you have taken responsibility instead of just running off and forgetting you have a daughter. I just can't even understand her thinking. I'm proud of you and very impressed. Honestly, sounds like the mom is the one judging her son in the whole situation. Life happens. Why be embarrassed by it? Not the a-hole. She even admitted it was her own wrongdoing that got her into that situation. You had nothing to do with it. Seems like a silly thing to have a fight over in my opinion. But you do you, Opie. We had different reasons for that fight. Mine was, I was mad she was saying this, and it could have confused my daughter by making her think my mom is actually her mom. What makes you not believe her promising you that she didn't say that in front of your daughter? This lady was apparently there all the time while my mom was watching her. I don't know if I can believe she didn't make any comments around my daughter, or if she was around them when her friend assumed that. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister move in after she called the cops on me over my car? I, 20 female, have been living on my own for about 2 years. When I first moved out, my dad gave me his old car to help me get around. It wasn't in great shape, but he said as long as I covered the insurance and repairs, it was mine. Over the past 2 years, I've put a lot of money into keeping it running, so it feels very much like my car at this point. Last week, my older sister Anna, 21 female, asked if she could move in with me temporarily because she broke up with her boyfriend and has nowhere to go. I was hesitant because we've never been super close, but I agreed. Family's family, right? 2 days later, I got a call from the police saying my car had been reported as stolen. I was in total shock. After a long, stressful back and forth, I found out it was Anna who reported me. Apparently, she had called my dad first to guilt him into taking the car back so she could have it. When that didn't work, she went straight to the cops, claiming I had stolen it. Luckily, my dad backed me up and cleared everything up with the police, but it was embarrassing and scary to even be in that situation. When I confronted Anna, she admitted it, but said she didn't think it would go that far and just wanted to teach me a lesson about sharing. Are you kidding me? I told her there's no way she's moving in after pulling something like that. But now she's blowing up my phone, calling me selfish and immature, and even got some family members involved. They're saying I need to be the bigger person because she's going through a tough time. I feel like letting her move in would be insane after this. But am I being too harsh? Now for the comments. Anna is not welcome in my life moving forward. Anyone who has an opinion on that matter can let her move in with you. She tried to ruin my life by having me arrested. I will not now, nor will I ever forgive her for that. And again, anyone who has a problem with that is free to buzz right off. Not the a-hole. OP lived that quote. She is dangerous to you. Maybe you lack self-preservation and survival skills. I don't know. But this isn't even debatable. You should be pushing for her prosecution. Also, you need to secure your home. She will retaliate. Suggest to the police that they might want to pursue a wasting police time charge against her. It's up to them, but this was a clear case of that. She didn't think it would go that far. She hoped it would go further, that you would be arrested and jailed, and she could take both the house and car scot-free. Not the a-hole. What is she going to do next to teach you a lesson under your own roof? She can move back in with your parents or other family members who seem oh so concerned. Yes, she's very entitled. You are not the a-hole. She showed her true intentions and interests, which are only for herself when she pulled a car stunt. The car thing is between you and your dad. It's none of her business. Never put yourself in a situation where she can ruin your day again. The best way to do that is to keep her away from you as much as possible. I mean, you don't have to ignore her, but letting her move in? No, she already screwed that up royally. It's entirely her fault that she's not allowed to move back in with you, not yours. Well, at least I know better now. It's always awful when you love someone and they betray you like this. But at the same time, it can be freeing. One less toxic person in your life. I don't know your sister, but if she pulled this, I bet she was a real piece of work her whole life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my ex and former best friend to take my kids out of state for a week to heal and recover after she was left unable to have children? I have 2 children under 12 with my ex. We divorced 5 years ago after I found out he and my former best friend were having an affair. They both tried to apologize and ask for it not to ruin everything, but their actions had already ruined everything. I hate the 2 of them. I no longer care about how they're doing, but for my kids' sake, I remain civil. I have never badmouthed them to my kids. I have never told my kids what happened. I would never want my kids to be harmed more by their father's actions than they already were. The divorce was tough on them, and they had a hard time coming to terms with the changes. They still need therapy for some adjustment issues that have remained. My former best friend hasn't helped by trying to continue on as best friend despite her actions. It also didn't help the kids went from their parents living together to their dad living with mom's former friend. But again, my primary focus has been my children. I love my kids more than I hate those 2 repulsive individuals. I love my kids more than myself, which is why I worked so hard to be civil in front of my kids. Because the last thing I wanted was to make nice with them. But my kids love their dad, and that has never changed. My ex and this woman are now married, and they tried to have children together. In December, she had her 10th miscarriage and had to be rushed to the hospital and into surgery, which left her unable to get pregnant again. I got a call from my ex telling me all this and asking me to bring the children to the hospital to stay until she was ready to leave. It was my parenting time, so I told him I would not bring them to sit and wait. He was very unsettled and told me to bring the kids by and that he'd get them to ask me to let them stay. I told him that wasn't happening. He made no more contact after that. And he didn't take the kids for his parenting time either, or contact me about it. His mom reached out and told me he refused to leave the hospital. He didn't see them until his parenting time came around again and she was released. There was a new tension in the air at that point. He was furious with me for keeping the kids from sitting vigil in the hospital with him. Now we have another dilemma that's become an issue. My ex booked a healing getaway for them, and they want the kids to go along. It happens during my week, and it's a school week. He also wants to take his weeks as normal before and after that, so he would have them for 3 consecutive weeks. From what he stated, he would potentially keep them out of school for that long, so the kids could be there to help her recover and grieve knowing she has them, was how he explained it to me. I said no and explained that I was not letting him take them out of school for a week just for her. I told him the kids are not their emotional support to get them through this, and that therapy is significantly better. I told him I didn't approve of them missing extended school time, period. But I wasn't giving up my week for it. He tried to state the week he missed should be made up, but our court-ordered parenting plan states that if a parent voluntarily doesn't take their week without an agreed-upon make-up period, then the other doesn't need to give up a week in return. I pointed this out to him, and he asked me how I could be so by the book about this. He said human decency would dictate that I should be willing to put aside our differences at a time like this, and that school isn't more important than family. He asked me how I would feel if she ended her life because of this, and my refusal was part of the reason why. I told him I wouldn't feel anything. I told him they lost all their rights for me to feel something for them when they betrayed me, and I would not be manipulated into agreeing. He's pushing very hard for this and trying to guilt me into agreeing. I know I might be overly harsh in my response to this, so I wanted to ask if people believe I'm wrong or not. Not the a-hole. Your kids are not your cheating ex's wife's emotional support animals. You can go get a dog. Dogs love you even if you are a complete a-hole. You don't pull kids out of school just to make yourself feel better. That is completely inappropriate. I agree, and he sounds like he would keep them out for 3 weeks, if not a little less. It's a lot of school to miss, and not a very good reason in my opinion. I would actually be more concerned about the emotional damage this so-called healing getaway would inflict. You don't expect kids to provide adults emotional support like that. And you're completely right. 3 weeks out of school is a lot. It may cost them to fall behind a grade and could be considered truancy, because the school would have to agree that the vacation would be an acceptable excuse for missing school. So many things are wrong with your selfish idea. You don't. They're so very wrong for it, and they do not see it. Plus, there's a lack of care about the impact on the kids emotionally and educationally. Not trying to scare you at all, but your ex trying to help her heal by having the kids for 3 weeks is ridiculous. He wanted the children during week to sit vigil with him in a hospital, which could have been quite traumatizing to them. For some reason, that didn't occur to him at all. He seemed only focused on her needs. But 3 weeks is plenty of time for the two of them to disappear with your children. The pair of them don't seem to have any guilt whatsoever when it comes to taking things from you. This is a woman who, after stealing your husband, expected you to still be besties. Why wouldn't she want to take your children now that she can't have her own? Because in her mind, you can have more. I thought that also. Opie should consider putting a tile or air tag in the kids' backpacks. Backpack, shoes, hair ties. More than one is my idea. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to stop treating her sister so badly after her sister confessed to having feelings for me? My wife and I have been married for 10 years and together for 12. We have 2 children. My sister-in-law, Jenna, is a single mom, as her husband sadly passed away 7 years ago. When Jenna's husband passed away, my wife and I provided support for Jenna and her daughter because it was a really traumatic time for them. Over the years, my wife and I spent a lot of time at Jenna's house, and she would often come over to ours. I also developed a really strong bond with my niece. My wife, my children, and I had a close connection with Jenna and her daughter, and we were a tight-knit group. That was until a few months ago, when Jenna confessed something to both me and my wife. We were all drunk and having a good time, and Jenna kind of just blurted out that she had developed feelings for me. I was shocked, and Jenna burst into tears, saying things like how grateful she was that I was a father figure to her daughter. I don't remember too much from that night, except that my wife kicked Jenna out of our house after her confession. My wife and I talked about it the next day, and my wife was obviously very upset. She said she had suspected this for years, based on the way Jenna was acting around me, and she couldn't believe Jenna had betrayed her like that. My wife decided we should cut off all contact with Jenna, and I agreed. My wife told me to block Jenna, which I did. However, I feel like this arrangement has been a bit harsh, especially towards my niece. My niece has been texting me a lot, and I've shown my wife the texts, telling her it was unfair that we were punishing my niece too. My wife said it was a consequence of Jenna's actions. Last night, when my niece sent a really long and sad text about how she and her mom were feeling, I feel terrible and decided to bring it up with my wife. I told her we should stop treating Jenna and her daughter so badly, especially after they both went through such a traumatic time. I acknowledged that what Jenna did was wrong, but I asked my wife to have some sympathy. I asked her to imagine if she were in Jenna's shoes and one night tragically lost me. I said that would scar her for a lifetime. My wife got really upset after I said that and broke down in tears. She didn't say anything except that she loved me, and she didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. I feel guilty about what I said. I didn't intend to make my wife feel like this. Was I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Your wife is correct about creating some distance. Your sister-in-law and niece are clearly slotting you into a partner/dad role, and some boundaries need to be reestablished. The fact that your sister-in-law was bold enough to admit those feelings in front of your wife is already alarming. Also, the wife said she suspected this for years and still kept quiet and supported Jenna through her grief. The torment of thinking for years that your sister has feelings for your husband? That's the ultimate betrayal, and she must have felt terrible just thinking it. Now Jenna has confirmed the wife was right all along, and OP has the audacity to guilt her for creating distance? That's messed up, OP. Major a-hole. The audacity to say it right in front of your wife. Her sister is insane to me, drunk or not. WTF. Not to mention how ridiculously hypocritical is it for him to tell his wife to put herself in her sister's shoes after getting stabbed in the back, while he can't be bothered to put himself in his wife's shoes. Not only is he hypocrite, but it's been 7 years. How long the sister needs to latch on to OP? At some point, she needs to live her own lives. Stand by your wife and respect her boundaries. Yes, it's very unfair to your niece, but you're not the one who created this situation. Again, stand by your wife. I think the niece wants OP as a stepfather. Niece isn't innocent in this, and OP should have blocked sister-in-law and niece, but he is going to destroy his marriage over it. Heck, I bet the sister-in-law is helping her daughter with those texts. OP, you're the a-hole. No contact to both sister-in-law and niece needs to happen. Your wife and children come before anyone, especially a potential home wrecker. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to attend family dinners because my parents keep treating me like the problem child? So I, 21 female, feel like I'm losing my mind here. I need to know if I'm totally out of line. My family has always had this unspoken golden child versus problem child dynamic. My older sibling, 26, is the golden child. Straight A student, great job, married, basically the poster child for success. Then there's me, the one who didn't follow the perfect plan. I'm in college and working part-time while figuring out what I want to do with my life. But apparently that's not good enough for my parents. Every family dinner turns into them grilling me about when I'm going to get my life together. Or why can't I be more like my sibling? Meanwhile, they're praising my sibling for breathing. The final straw was last week. We were at dinner and my mom straight up said, "It's just so disappointing that you're not living up to your potential." I tried to laugh it off, but it hurt. Then my dad chimed in with, "Well, maybe if you spent less time on your phone and more time thinking about your future, you'd get somewhere." I snapped. I told them I'm doing the best I can, and that is hard enough without feeling like a failure every time I see them. My mom rolled her eyes and said, "We're only hard on you because we care," which feels like the biggest cop-out ever. So, I told them I'm done coming to family dinners if they're just going to use me as their punching bag. Now they're acting like I'm the one being dramatic and immature. My sibling even texted me, saying I'm making things awkward and should just let it go, because they're just trying to help. But I don't think constantly comparing me to my sibling and putting me down is helpful. I just wanted to enjoy dinner without feeling like a disappointment. 6 months. Do not talk to them for 6 months. If you back up your words with action, they will learn to shut up. They know they're right. Let them stew. The first words you speak after that should be, "If you ever do it again, 1 year. Try a dinner. If they do it again, just go for the year." Heck, this will help your mental health a ton. No sibling either. If he doesn't tell them to shut up, he needs a timeout as well. not the a-hole. Also, OP, you're doing freaking great holding life together the best way you can. This internet stranger is proud of you. Bummer your family don't see it. That's on them. No contact works. I did it with my dad. I didn't speak to him for 4 months. And once I finally did, he actually listened when I said, enough.